Update 2. I begged my parents for help at my daughter's hospital bed. Mom laughed and said, "Let her die. Maybe it's time for her to go." My dad said, "She's a burden, your brother's future matters more." I hugged her and knew what I had to do. My parents had always treated me like the family burden. Too soft, too emotional, too unlike Daniel, who they called the future. When I graduated with honors, they skipped my ceremony for a real estate auction. When I had a miscarriage 3 years ago, my mother told me, "God takes the weak." And when Lily was born prematurely, they visited once, brought no gift, and said, "She better not slow you down." But I stayed quiet for too long. Not anymore. I took all the recordings, every voicemail, every cruel comment from my mother's hospital visit, the laugh, the let her die remark, the investment emails my father had forwarded pressuring me to leave the hospital mid-surgery. Then I sent everything to the board of directors of my father's company, to the wives of my father's golf club friends, to the CEO who had been evaluating Daniel's pitch, and I attached a simple caption. This is what they consider family values. What followed was nuclear. My father was called into emergency meetings. Daniel's funding evaporated overnight. And I moved Lily to a private pediatric recovery center on the coast using the emergency trust fund my grandmother had left me, the same one my parents always pretended didn't exist. I changed our number, filed a legal restraining order, blocked every number they tried to use, and finally in a calm, well-lit courtroom 2 weeks later, I faced my parents during the hearing and read the final sentence of the therapist's report aloud. The child's trauma was worsened not by the accident, but by emotional negligence and verbal abuse from her own blood relatives. The judge nodded slowly, and then I said the words I never thought I'd have the courage to say, "My daughter is not disposable, and I am no longer your daughter." 3 months passed. Lily had learned how to walk again. Slow, shaky steps between parallel bars. Her face lit up with determination. Every time she stumbled, she laughed. And every time she laughed, I cried quietly, privately, because her resilience had rebuilt the parts of me I didn't even know were broken. Our world was peaceful now. No surprise phone calls, no forced dinners, no venom in the form of fake concern. We rented a small beachside apartment where the sea whispered instead of my mother's voice echoing through my skull. Until one morning, the past came knocking. Not a figure of speech. It literally knocked. A woman stood at my door, early 50s, face pinched with panic, silk scarf crooked, designer handbag clutched in shaking hands. My mother. Behind her, just stepping out of a black sedan, was my father. I didn't move. "Sweetie," she started, smiling like nothing had happened. "We're here to see Lily." My heart dropped, but I stayed still. "I read what you posted," she said, shifting uneasily. That wasn't fair. You were upset. You took it out of context." "She heard you say it," I replied coldly. "You left." My father stepped forward, arms out like he was delivering a sermon. "Enough of this melodrama. Do you think destroying your own family makes you a hero? Do you know how hard it's been for us? Hard for them? You came to see Lily?" I asked. "That's funny because last I checked, you said she was an inconvenience." My mom's voice dropped to a hiss. "She's still your responsibility, not ours."